So we are in the new nowness where I think everything has to be redefined. I want to think that you are a celebrity that the greater part of the world knows nothing about. And even those who know haven't a clear conception of your celebrity status. So what can you say about this? Or can any other person on board say something about this? We want to call a spade here. Yeah, Duane.
Okay, I haven't been called a spade, but
no.
I know the old saying, a spade is a spade. So again, that might have come from the black community. So I don't know, but
no, it's a fact.
Well, over here,
an observable.
Yeah, it's a fact, but also a spade. White people call black people spades. Okay, that's one of the little nuances that they've created. But anyhow, that's the old days. Okay. Yes, we have. It's interesting. In the cowboy and Indian days, there weren't too many celebrities or stuff. You had things going on, the saloons and the dancers and whatever. And so today we have movie stars, we have celebrities, and sometimes the boys show themselves as that on the real side. Paul has done that at certain times. I remember before 2001, before I took the real position, I had an experience with Paul on the real side. And we had it was more impressions. And he stood there, and the impression was that he was Kirk Douglas. And he had these little wire-rimmed glasses on. And, he gave me an impression, and then I said to him, well, and then tell all your movie star friends about me. And so that's when they were preparing me for 2001, etc., August 3rd. And so the idea of Kirk Douglas, if he's an old movie star, there's really a good one called Indian Killer or something like that, where he's the adventuresome guy. This is what they're displaying, is the adventure. And sometimes Rebazar appears as Steven Seagal, etc. They will use this idea, and I'm sure that I've appeared to people in many different ways, Superman or whatever. This has been the whole idea, but it's really not the celebrity idea that is here in the Tinseltown surface world. No, that's not it. And these things are used just as, kind of little cliches for the fun of it, just to get people's attention, etc. But I don't really care for myself personally, and I'm very sincere with this. I really don't care for any of these identities that have been created here, because I don't see that they have any relevance or reverence to the is. I'm very sincere with that. Again, I like the sun shining. That's if I'm to see myself, that's how I see it. I like that, etc. But no, I'm like everybody else, and I have the privilege of having the awareness because I took the risk. I stepped up. I took the risk. So by the very fact I took the risk, the boys, they show me a lot. They provide a lot for me, simply because I'm constantly doing that every moment, looking into the unknown to see what can be provided as a benefit in creation, because that's why I'm here. I'm just here as with whatever. I decided to take the risk, and anybody can do this. And so I have the fortune, of I stepped up, so I got the privilege to where they amped me up, you might say, because then I recognize it and I've utilized what I've recognized. I didn't take advantage of it like others did, and just brought it around to their personal self, and that was it. I could have done a lot of things. I could have created the membership. I could have done all kinds of things like Harry and Joni did, but I saw that, no, I don't want to do that. And I struggled because of that. And that's fine. That's fine. And so I'm so glad that Val and them are here. They've helped out a lot too, and all these things. And this is how it is, because the world is pushing on us. It doesn't like us here. It's not the good old days. When Paul was here, and he created Ekankar and did the membership, he went through a lot, but eventually he got it going. And that's why he came through the spiritual idea and all the things in the God idea that he did, just to get something here, just so that he would have a support, so that he could provide something to just get it going. And so it's very interesting. This is a new day, and things are a lot tougher. And so it's not magic. And this is, I know in Africa, the kids there, the people there, they look for that. They look for, well, why doesn't this happen? Or why don't the guides do this? Or get rid of the government, or get rid of the Kalam God. It's not about that. Everything is about recognition. And yes, to stand up to the storm and to recognize what's going on and to do something. Yes. And so again, no, I turn away from all that stuff. I have fun being Duane the Great Writer. I have fun with Duane, Ava. I'm so appreciative, so grateful that Ava is here, all these things. But other than that, it's not about any of that. We're just very glad to be able to provide this. And the best part, just like a parent with children, to see their children succeed, you see. And so to see everybody else succeed, that's the whole idea of what is being presented. Not that somebody's special, more special than everybody else, and they look to them, but that trying to get everybody to step in and to recognize this and to take part and to stand real side by side with the real guides, to recognize this isness and support it. You see, you don't have to, it's fine without it, but the advantage is there. So yes, these are fun little ideas, but yeah, I don't see it as a celebrity thing. I personally just like Duane. That's it. Just Duane is fine. And the other things I use as promotional items to the public to attract their attention, because create the adventure, try to show people the real adventure of life, and that is taking the risk. And really doing what you've always wanted to do within yourself and in your dreams, your fantasies, whatever, because it all implies. It's all very important. It really is. And to make sense of it. When we were children, we did that. We had our fantasies and our dreams and whatever, and as we got older, we became conditioned and self-convinced, and now we agree with the demise of the world for the most part. So at what point will you decide differently? That becomes the fun part, taking the risk, doesn't it, Charles? You took the risk. You went to China, didn't you, Charles?
Yeah, I took the risk. People ask me why I was not heading for Western capitals, London, Washington, and well, I told them that I wanted to go where no one goes. That was my answer. I don't know why I said that. So I want to go where nobody thinks of going. That's how I found myself here. Yeah, Duane, you talk of the celebrity status, and well, you disclaim everything. It's okay, but keen observers see it differently. And yeah, by celebrity, we're not saying you're the kind who wants to know want to let people know where you're going on holiday, the next holiday, what you are eating, your underwear, where you go shopping, what you like, and all that nonsense. Here is what I would call the new celebrity. Somebody who is, well anchored in the real awareness, and who is capable of directing others, helping others to know what the essence of life is, and not just wishing to be in the spotlight by doing some kind of strange, some kind of eccentric things. That's not the kind of celebrity we're talking about here, but like as you always say, someone who shines like the sun, who has taken the universal position and is able to serve life without discrimination and has no apologies to give to anyone for what he's doing. That's what I had in mind. Okay, the wonderful worldwide educators are not educators are not passive. They are very active, supporting the cause of the all-is, the all-natural environment that supports all life. So, Duane, I think this puts us in the activism category, with the understanding that the essence of reality is pure activity, and we have no strings attached to whatever we are doing. So, I want to ask you, can we consider the wonderful worldwide educators activists of sorts, engaging in what I would call new activism? Yeah, Duane?
Well, yeah, that's an idea. Yeah, I see that as activists. And again, we activate something that makes sense. That's all, not just agree with what's taking place that sounds good from the authorities. And yes, we acknowledge that. It's like, okay, have fun. And then, but we're going to go over here and we're going to do this. You see, so we're going to activate our own position. And of course, it's going to bother them. Everything that we do or anybody does, unless they totally comply, is going to bother them. But you take the risk to do that. So just like Val, when he went to OCC, you know, we simply presented things and all of a sudden it became investigations and fraud and all these other things that they dreamt up justifiably. Because again, we were providing something that made sense, and they didn't want to make sense of it. It was just simply that because they wanted to stick to the routine that they have complied to for who knows how long. And so, again, and I see it as fear. And so, yes, Charles, there's a lot going on, but the bigger picture is that do we comply? And in certain ways we do, but at the same time, do we do something else? Otherwise, we're stuck in the same routines because it's our choice. Yeah, it's our choice. So again, you see what you've done. You know, you stepped out of the ordinary. Good for you. You're there, and so that is the bigger picture for all of us, isn't it? Yeah, lucky us. We get the chance to do it, but you got to do it. It's not just talking about it. It sounds good and sharing the ideas, but actually doing something real that comes to be so. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was thinking that you know, with the involvement of the tree planting in a very serious manner. Some people on the surface, they might say, oh, these are environmental activists. These are environmental supporters, sensitizing the world on the need to preserve the forest, to regrow them, to have a balanced ecosystem. And so I don't know how you will consider what we are doing, how how you put it in the broader context of the other activists in life. They are also supporting or some causes which look at it from the general position, or they are also beneficial for the whole of life. So, what can you say about this random activism out there, Duane?
Okay, so from what you said here, and this is good, so this is going to help you better focus and understand and put these things together for yourself, Charles, because, again, one of the biggest green belts is in Africa, and I suggest to recommend this to Miriam and have in some way see all the people that we know, all the Africans over there that you know, in some way communicate and take part in this, in some way, just even communication. And so I would say this is, as worldwide, as wonderful worldwide educators, I really like that because it's we, okay, that's like everybody, okay, and everybody can join the we thing. This is what we do. We do something wonderful, and that is that, yes, we can play the role of the activist. That's something we do, but that's not entirely it. More so than that, yes, we can do something. We can do the activity, plant the trees, whatever it is, all right? I don't feel like planting trees. I may get someone else to do it, but because I've got a lot of management stuff to do. But yeah, I was a contractor for 40 years. I did everything, and I can do some of that, but I'm not going to go out there and plant trees 8 hours a day. But, there are people that will, etc., and this is fine. Everybody has their place. But again, this is just something that we do at that time. But what we're really providing is a real guidance and real education that encompasses a lot more than just the seen all-natural environment, you see. And so the bigger picture is the unseen also, to start to relate to that so that the individual has a better view and eventually becomes self-sufficient. That's the whole idea, like the sun shining. The sun shining is so awesome, it demonstrates being self-sufficient. But then again, from the personal view that has all these little aberrations attached to it and ideas about itself and its comfort zone and everything else, it's going to look at the sun and consider and think with its personal self and its emotions like, well, gee, it seems so boring. What is it really doing? Well, again, you need to develop that view. You need to learn to recognize it, and it's a huge journey. It's many steps into that recognition, and then you're going to see that all these little elementary pieces here in creation are really very boring. But the fun part is that to utilize them. And so being activists, yeah, we can play that role. Yes, I would say yes, we're activists. But really, we're wonderful worldwide educators because, again, the real guidance and the real education, like no one else, this is what's so cool, because this is where the real guides come in as intermediates, what the all is and the real universe is, because we have what no one else has. They have surface ideas, which sound good. Yeah, they're planting trees and whatever, but we have a lot more to provide, etc. And so this is the fun part we're doing now galactically with the Orions and the Syrians, etc. I'll give you a little hint on that, and a lot of them are paying attention. And boy, do I have a big surprise. But it's going to take a few minutes. But it's being worked on. It's very definite, kind of like building the Titanic. Yeah, but it's being worked on. And so in the meantime, this is what we do. Again, you have the challenge, and you can take on the adventure of all these Africans that you know with Miriam and you, and coordinate something along those lines. And I would suggest the indigenous people, the green belters over there, etc., Felix in Germany, etc. We're really looking at this tree thing in the green belt, and it's so cool. And you can use the Avatar movie as an example, and how precious trees are. And also at the end of the movie, Knowing with Nicolas Cage. I suggest people see that. If you haven't, I suggest you see that movie. And at the very end, pay attention. So again, there's many hints there. Also, The Day the Earth Stood Still, the 1951 version, not the new one with Keanu Reeves. That's something else. But the older one, very good example. But yeah, I would say these are people that are really, they're doing it. And in India, they planted 1.5 million trees as an example, as something to do, as something to start to take part in, you see, and to relate to. And so that's, we're looking at different things, and Val is bringing these things up and putting these together, and he's going to take a trip on November 6th. So putting a little committee together to do like a little business plan for this, etc. Those that want to get involved, please step up. It's very real because Val has a lot to do, plus his homework at the college, etc. But he's gotten his way in there, so Val's earning his way. And so this is our focus right now, and it's a lot of fun. And you have this opportunity, Charles. You have all of Africa. Yeah, the challenge is there. The dark forces are there. They don't want you there. But you know what? You have rights just like they do. And so just like how you went to China, again, there are opportunities there. And people come and go because they're only going to sit around so long. But as you get this projects, as you get their attention to focus on these things and start activating something again, and formulate this and have Skypes or WhatsApp on your phones or whatever it is, if it's through emails or whatever kind of communication, everybody get together and do this, because otherwise it's not going to happen. It's just going to stay as it is, and for the most part, probably most people will drift away after a while because they're just going to look to the inner experiences. This is where, just looking to the real side experiences and whatever. This is where it becomes passive eventually, and it becomes like meditation. They're just chasing these experiences. And so there's more to it. You're here on Earth. You've chosen to be here, and there's a lot going on. Sorry, it's not the promised land, but there's no such thing. So in the meantime, take the risk, be like Flash Gordon, do something different, just take the risk and face it. You'll be glad you did. So yes, we're having fun, and so it's a step at a time, but at least we've started it. Charles, you see, we've started it. And again, we have the foundation, new presentation, but if you can get around that without spending all the money, I wouldn't like to see the Africans spend it, but if you want to spend it, if Miriam has it, whatever, fine, but it doesn't guarantee anything just because you've got the idea, all right? So I would say the activity is more so than just creating an idea. I created it here because I had the funds to do it, and it just did start something. It started something for everybody around the world, and I don't care how it's used. It doesn't matter. It's just a thing with the feds. That's all it is to me. It's just a thing that I don't really care about. I'll just even let it go someday because it's only going to get better, what we're doing, because we're just going through the process right now. Right now we're in the, we've done the caterpillar crawl on our bellies, we're in the cocoon, and eventually the butterfly is going to come out, and it's going to be very interesting. I'm not saying we're going to make it better, we're going to save mankind. It's not the idea, because everybody has to decide for themselves. And most people, they're just going to stay in their old routines and feel safe with that because they're afraid of what exists. So yeah, we have a big adventure here, but we got to create the adventure, Charles. Every moment we have to create it, just like writing a movie. All those wonderful movies we've seen that are great documentaries, they wouldn't exist unless someone created them. They just didn't appear. You had to do it. See?
Yeah, Duane, that is it's made me to reflect a lot. What you said about getting a place, if the means afford, especially in Africa, is very, very valid. It's more in the activities than just getting a place or being legalized or anything like that. Just imagine in the Congo, Mariam communicated with me. She on WhatsApp, she wrote a message. She said where they were renting the premises, they were occupying, using for their activities. We've just been notified that the place will be used for other things. And so Mariam says it's because they are probably in arrears of rents. Rents have not been paid, and maybe that's a polite way of ejecting them from the premises. And so it made me to think about what you earlier said. There's a way to blend anonymously with what is already there in the various clubs, the various organizations, and support them while also pushing your own causes, making them know what you stand for. Yes, it's. I thought about that, and then after listening to you talk and being present in many of the Skypes, I wish many of the people who claimed to have been marketed to left with a false idea of wanting to be pure. They want to they thought maybe the wonderful world educators were engaged in a covert marketing scheme and getting people involved by underhand methods and all the like. You see, it all goes with what we've been saying, and I wish they are around, so that you must do something. Yeah, and there is no way you can do something in this life without it being a benefit first to you, in a way, and to the society as a whole. Take for instance the CBD oil that has come up now, CFTO, and the deuterium depleted water, which everyone needs. In fact, it's very good for our health. I wish I could afford a machine and have a stable location. I just install it in my house, buy it when the means permit. But when guys go out there and they get these things and they try to share their awareness with others, they talk about it, do videos, devote their time to, some people say, it's a marketing scheme, this and that. And they forget that through this medium they are learning, and they could also help themselves with it, with all the projects that are being initiated. See, what if individuals knew these things? We did the cabbage thing, very useful, and now moved on to other things. But some people would think that, it's some kind of how does this chime with the knowledge of with the idea of freedom, of liberation in this lifetime. You see, forget to, unless you actually attend these Skypes and you listen, This is what we call self-agitation, expanding one's horizons, getting involved with life, and sharing with others. You see, this ancient idea of purity that is a carryover from the old religions. You see, it's affecting many people so to the extent that they cannot see clearly what others are trying to do, how others are trying to help life. They only think in terms of people being egocentric and all the like. And well, they think of, people are trying to enrich themselves or something like that. And then it's also a carryover from the religions.
Again, see, we're getting more centered here. I see that with you, Charles. See, I see what people go through, and I understand. And a lot of people, you're more literal than others, and I get it. I understand. We've been very patient. We've known each other probably at least 3 years or so now, more than that. And I see the process that you've went through. And so little by little, it has come through, but you've stepped up. You see, you keep at it, and you're doing so much better. And yes, it is the activities. So when Miriam first decided to get that room, again, making sense of things, it's just spending money to where, you can make pictures of Rebazar and pass them out like we do or whatever. Just pictures of Rebazar, not Duane and Ava, but just of Rebazar. And just like we did these ones, vote Rebazar, etc., because there are elections here. So we've had fun with that. If no one's seen them, well, we could put some up here. But just as an example, and so I would say that, yes, the hint here is get people out of the rooms and get them doing something, because, again, they've sat there for years. And it's wonderful that, and the boys love Miriam, etc., and what she's done. But it's really with what's taking place, get involved. Take part in some of these other groups and organizations that are, doing something with the natural environment. And Africa's huge. And just like in the United States, there are environmental groups and whatever. And a lot of these people, their heads are shrunk with the geo nonsense of thinking that, this is good stuff, just like it's in the textbooks and that. So you've got to sort out and find people, or you don't. I mean, we're just trying to, put something out there. And at the same time, we're doing Facebook and other things. We're doing radio shows. And we're covering all bases, and we're not picking on anybody. We're just covering all bases as our adventure and see where it goes. But, you have a big opportunity there. I would say get with Miriam and focus on these things to where these people get involved, not just come to the meeting once a week and just talk. But yes, do that. But at the same time, get involved and talk about what's happening out there. This is what we're all doing here, all four of us and others. We're constantly looking at different ways to communicate, and Kelsey contacts people to try to get radio interviews. That's very difficult because most people won't step up, etc. But at least you've got to try. And yeah, again, like I said, Africa's a big challenge. Well, the whole world is. I mean, this is, the whole world is drowning in its own nonsense. And so we get the adventure to do this, and we get the awareness from that. It's very important. So it's kind of interesting what's taking place with that, but it really is time, to get beyond being babysat and really get involved. And everybody then comes into the group and shares their experiences of what they've gone through and who they've met and who they've went out there and talked to. It's very, very important. And one of them is with the Greenbelt people that's doing it clear across Africa, and it goes through the Congo, just to, in some way, be associated with these things and build from there, whatever it is, in your community and what have you. And again, the indigenous people in Africa, they're wonderful. They're all over. And to, contact them and People even discovering where they came from and their ancestry and whatever, just build off of that and create a relationship that makes sense with the all-natural environment, Charles. Yes, it's all there.